Now let's turn our attention to Delta State, where Governor Sheriff Oborowere says the state is ready to lead Nigeria's renewable energy drive following the signing of a memorandum of understanding with the Rural Electrification Agency. The governor called on investors to take advantage of the state's energy potential and ease of doing business. Ikenamechi has more.
The 14th edition of the state-by-state roundtable themed Unlocking Distributed Energy Investment for Industrial Growth and Inclusive Access in Delta State brought Governor Oborowere, top government officials, and the Rural Electrification Agency together in Abuja. The session focused on ways to unlock renewable energy for rural and underserved communities across Delta.
We realize that, Your Excellency, if we address the electricity access challenge of all the communities within Delta State, we will boost the GDP of Delta State with at least $2.9 billion.
Delta State boasts of 4.53 kilowatts per hour of annual solar radiance and about 4,000 megawatts of biomass potential. Yet, only a fraction of this is currently being utilized, and that is the reason for this engagement.
The entire program is to ensure that each state powers 100 communities.
The governor reaffirmed that Delta State has completed the necessary groundwork to ensure smooth execution of the renewable energy projects in partnership with the Rural Electrification Agency.
Ensures access to electricity, renewable energy means, and private sector collaboration has enacted the Delta State Electricity Power Sector Law. Similarly, the state government has equally committed huge financial resources in rural electrification schemes.
The engagement culminated in signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Delta State government and the Rural Electrification Agency.
His Excellency, our governor, came in person to listen to this. It shows the heart that he has. It's a governor that loves the people, and I want to believe that the governor is keen into this Rural Electrification Agency, having some funds available for them to be invested in Delta State.
The governor of Delta State is calling on investors to come quickly and invest to ensure the people, especially rural dwellers, benefit from the renewable energy sector. Ikenamechi, TVC News, Abuja.
Let's bring in Commissioner for Works, Rural Roads and Public Information in Delta State, Charles Anioku. Thank you for joining us on the news at 7. Delta boasts of one of the highest solar and biomass potentials in Nigeria, yet only a fraction is being tapped. Beyond the MoU that your government has signed now with the Rural Electrification Agency, what concrete steps and timelines has the state mapped out to ensure that rural and underserved communities actually begin to see reliable and affordable power supply?
Well, good evening and thanks for having me. And it's a privilege to share with Nigerians what our governor is doing with respect to ensuring that our underserved and unserved communities, particularly in the rural flank of the state, is actually served. You know, like this is said, you cannot clap with one hand. So for you to be able to clap and make the right sound, the two hands must come together. Over the years, there have been a whole lot of concentration in urban centers that are actually linked to the national grid. And then you discover that a number of these rural communities that are far-flung are not served in terms of energy they are not in the energy mix. And that for us to be able to do that, our government reasoned that we needed to take advantage of the opportunities offered by the Rural Electrification Agency, working with a whole lot of individuals who are in that energy ecosystem. And so our coming to Abuja is to be able to meet with these individuals, which happened today, to be able to also let them know what is available in our dear state, because we believe that if we are able to energize a number of these rural communities, it will first of all make it easier for us to fight a whole lot of crime and criminalities, also check the issue of unbridled rural-urban migration, and then energize a number of the micro enterprises that exist in these rural communities. We have clinics, we have hospitals in these rural communities, And so by the time you are able to provide them energy via solar system or some form of wind energy, you will be able to see that they can now afford to power some of their refrigerators. So those medications that will require a certain level of temperature to be preserved will be preserved. And then, of course, for those other persons who are into one form of a business or the other, like the barber, the man that runs the salon, the hairdresser, the man that is into or woman that is into tailoring, can afford to have access to some form of electricity. Because if they don't have that access, you discover that the cost of running their businesses usually comes at a very high cost. Indeed. Because to power their generators, to even buy these generators becomes a problem. So we believe that this relationship that we have been able to come into today, this marriage between us and the Rural Electrification Agency, all right, on one hand, yes, and then the individuals who are in that sector, the players on the other hand, would to a very large extent bring power to our rural communities and then bring them into the economy of the state.
I hear you clearly, Mr. Nyagu. We hear that the governor has called on investors to key into Delta's renewable energy opportunities. What specific incentives or policies is the state putting in place now to attract and retain private investment? And how will you guarantee transparency so that these projects are not abandoned midstream?
Well, first of all, we've been able to assure them that all the bureaucratic bottlenecks will be taken away. So in which case, once they come in, it is more like going to be an easy one-stop shop for them to have access to whatever they need. That we're also going to be able to guarantee the land space where they are going to use without any hindrance coming from either the communities or individuals who may want to frustrate the efforts of these investors. We have also been able to put in place a mechanism through our economic team that ensures that once they come in, there are some other form of incentives that nobody is going to harass them, and that there is going to be security for the purpose of securing a number of these facilities that will be put in place so that it will become beneficial to these rural communities. In terms of other guarantees, they have also seen that our state, beyond being ready, the Rural Electrification Agency has made it also clear that they have some funds, and that once these individuals are able to come in and able to deliver according to specification, issue of payment for the services they are rendering is not going to be a problem. And what makes this particular approach unique is that these different communities that may be very far away from the national grid cannot be served by this form of captive power, so that you do not need to waste so much money having to link them up, buying transformers, having to buy electrical conductors, a whole lot of wires linking them and electric poles. And at the end of the day, you begin to see that between two communities, maybe about 3 or 4 kilometers, and nobody is manning them. At the end of the day, you have individuals who may want to vandalize some of those electrical facilities. But for this captive power, it is not going to happen. All right. And so that is the reason why we're looking in that direction. But be rest assured that as a state and as a state government, we are very much determined to provide them all the enabling environment that they require for them to be able to come and invest. Data is ripe. Our people will also be able to pay the bills that will arise on account of these renewable energy once it's installed, and provide them the services that they do desire. Well, hopefully Delta will also experience the integration needed between renewable energy and rural infrastructure development. We're counting on that, but that's our time. Commissioner for Works and Public Information, Charles Nyagu, thank you for talking to us. Thanks for having me.